All right. Well, Julie, we are live officially in YouTube right now, and I'm so excited to finally have you on. We met back, when was it? August? I think that's when we last spoke.
It feels like a lifetime. A lot happens in just a short amount of time anymore on Instagram.
Oh my gosh, it absolutely does. And I found you on Instagram. I love your energy. I love your videos. And I'm like, I have to bring this woman on to talk with her, not just on YouTube, but on my podcast as well. So thank you so much for taking the time out today. And I'm just excited for everybody to get to know who you are and what you do, because what you do is really fun to watch. And I know that you inspire, you inspire so many women and just entrepreneurs along the way. So before we kind of dive into the guts of this conversation today, I want to know, what is something really interesting about you that most people don't know?
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll go a little bit more into this in a moment. But one thing most people don't know about me is that I actually began in country music.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up in Oklahoma, which is like a home of country music. My uncle was actually a famous country singer back in the 1970s, traveled with Loretta Lynn. So he kind of helped me propel my career. But until I was about 22, I did professional music. And that's probably where I get my animation and, being alive on video. I would give it a lot of that to being on stage for so many years. I started when I was 8 years old and I'm still there today.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love country music. My husband's from Louisiana, so he loves country music. Yeah. So that's fascinating. I did not know that about you. Well, then that leads me into, I'm sure you'll elaborate a little bit more on your story, but your entrepreneurship. How did you end up to where you are today? And take me a little bit back to that journey from, country music to now and specializing in live video and coaching and all the things that you do.
Oh my gosh. I mean, everybody's story is so varied, and I don't know how deep we really want to go here, but I kind of felt laid on my heart that I needed to share this story with whoever's watching. Maybe this is you watching that you need this story. But we had this incredible talent show that I was in here in Oklahoma called the Oklahoma Kids Talent Search. And they had different levels. So there's 5 different levels. So you entered at level 1. And if you're good enough, you went on to level 2 in the competition, and level 3 and level 4. And then level 5 was like the place to be. It was the state finals. It was televised. That's what everybody's goal was, to get to level 5. And so it was like,
it's almost like American Idol.
It is exactly like American Idol, but it was in Oklahoma, and it was for kids, like kindergarten all the way through high school. And it was a wonderful organization to be a part of, because we also traveled around the state and entertained like every single weekend somewhere, whether it be an art festival, or I did a lot of TV things through them. So it was a really neat experience, but I wanted to get to that level 5. Like that was my ultimate goal. Well, I got to level 4, and the way that they announced who got to go on to level 5 is they had this huge ballroom. They brought all the kids there that had participated in level 4, and we're all on stage. And I'm probably a whole whopping 12 years old at this point. They bring us all on stage, and they're like, and in the 12 to 14 year age range, these are who's going on to level 5. And my name was not called. And I was absolutely devastated. I literally ran off a stage and ran into my mom's arms, because I was so upset about not making it to level 5. It was like crushing to my precious little spirit at 12 years old. Well, so I went home feeling like a complete loser at this point. But lo and behold, within about 2 weeks, we get a phone call from the organizers of this talent search and said, we have MCs that we like to, do the level 5 show. It was this huge production, and we would love to have Julie be the MC of this entire show. And I was like, what? I mean, something that I had a 2-minute appearance for a song versus like a 3-hour-long show where I got to MC the entire thing. Well, what was devastating to me at the time actually turned to be this tremendous blessing, because God had something so much bigger for me than just that 2-minute, talent show. And from that, I got to start emceeing all the shows around the state of Oklahoma. There was a TV news broadcaster that saw me at one of these shows, and he actually started mentoring me, bringing me into the news station and having me kind of like shadow him so I could see what the life of a news broadcaster is. And then by the time I was 16, I was actually an ABC News a student News Corps reporter. And so they would actually come out to wherever like student things were done, and I would actually report about it, and they would put it on the ABC News here in the Oklahoma affiliate market. And, I think that my point of that whole story is that what seems like something so heartbreaking right now is God's preparing you for something so much bigger. And if I hadn't had that moment of losing, I would probably not be where I am today.
I absolutely love that story because I feel like it's so relatable. So many women, so many men around the world, have that moment of letdown, but there is so much glory in those moments if we just open our eyes and just trust where he's leading us. So I love that. So video is your jam. That is just what you love. That's what you're good at. I mean, clearly from your journey with video, that's just where you sit right now. And that's just your passion and what the gift God has given you. So let's apply that to today. When it comes to video, we've got, short form video, we've got live, we have, long form video. What is your favorite to really kind of play around with and do?
My favorite by far right now is the short form video. It's really fun because you get to do things, if you're trying to release maybe 3 to 4 reels, if we're talking about short form right now, if you get to release 3 to 4 reels on Instagram, you're constantly changing and being able to try new things, but not have to make it so elaborate to make it last 20 minutes. So I love short form video right now.
It is. It's so much fun. And that leads me to, kind of my next question is, what do you think is so powerful with short form video? I mean, it's really becoming a main focal point for a lot of these social media companies today is how can we innovate with short form video? How can we make it more, interesting for our users? So why do you think this is so powerful today?
I think it's most powerful because we've got such a short attention span. Like I watch my 13 and 16-year-olds, and they literally have an iPad and another iPad set up, and they're watching 2 shows at once. Like there's this constant, you've got to be stimulated basically. And so there's such a short attention span, and it seems like reels are getting shorter and shorter and shorter if you want them to go viral. And so that to me is why it's such a hot area right now. You can get a lot of information in within about 7 seconds, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's really crazy. When I know when I speak with some of my students that go through my masterclass and we get to the video week, right? And we're talking all about video and showing up on social media. And that's one of the questions. And that's one of my questions next for you is how do you go viral with, video when it comes to social media? But when I talk to them about, you have the ability to do a 60-second short form video, but really it's within that 7 to 15 seconds that you can lock down an audience, not only just an immediate audience, but a viral audience. They're like, well, what can I produce in 7 to 15 seconds? And I'm like, just go for it. You would be surprised how much value that can come out within such a short amount of time. Right. So that's my next question is, what are your best tips for going viral when it comes to video and we apply it to social media today?
Well, one of the first tips I would would go onto your Reels tab on your Instagram app and start scrolling through and figuring out what are the trending reel sounds right now, because as much as you might hate it, that is what gets you viral is the trending reel sounds. So find those trending reel sounds. I actually have a Trello board. If anybody knows what Trello is, I have a Trello board where I'll copy the link of that reel and I'll put it in my Trello board so that I can always come back to it with an idea and see which sound will sync up with the idea that I have. So first of all, you got to find the trending reel sound. Secondly, you need to stick within your niche. So don't go outside of your niche when it comes time to create a reel. Look at what your niche is, whether it be beauty or healthcare or mine, social media marketing, and don't go outside of that niche because it's pointless. If somebody follows you for a quote of something that's not even in your niche, they're going to be so disappointed when they start seeing more of your stuff. So find the trending reel sound, keep it within your niche. Third, as much and as hard as it is, even 15 seconds right now is a little too long. So if you can even get it under 8 seconds, to me, that's almost like the maximum amount right now that I'm willing to go. So then the question is, well, how in the world could you possibly get anything within 8 seconds? The key I'm figuring out right now this may not work in 2 months, but right now, the key is tell them to go to your captions.
Yeah.
If you want to know more, look in the caption. Another thing about making a viral reel is you've got to have good light. And if you're going to talk, you really need to have good sound. Preferably don't use the mic on your iPhone. Actually have another sort of instrument that plugs into your iPhone that makes your sound that much better.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Yeah, so there's all the tips I would give as far as going viral on Reels. Now, what is viral for somebody versus somebody else? If you've only got, that's a big thing. Like, what's viral really? We have not had a 1 million view viral reel yet, and that's okay. We've actually, most of ours are around the 20K mark, and for us, that's viral. So when we have something go that amount, we consider that a win in our.
Yeah, no. That's awesome. Well, I will say I've had few that have gone, I guess, viral in a couple hundreds of thousands of views. And I did have one that was on track to hit 1 million. And I'll tell you, Julie, I was gaining, thousands and thousands and thousands of views a day on this one particular reel. And it got to 965,000 views. And it's almost as if Instagram turned the switch off overnight. It was like the next day, I wasn't even getting 20 views on that reel.
Isn't it
and I sat there, and as a strategist, I sat there and I thought, well, this is so odd. And it was almost driving me crazy because I'm like, how do you gain so much, and then overnight, done. We're just going to turn it off now. So I was really puzzled with that. I'm still puzzled with it today as to why just overnight that kind of just turned off. But,
well, can I share what I figured out?
Yeah.
So I'm a complete nerd. So for a couple of months, I kept a spreadsheet, and every single day I would log on my spreadsheet how many views each reel was getting. And what I noticed is that about day 26 or day 27, they tank. So it's like day 25, 26, 27, Instagram pulls the plug on that one and decides it's had its time. And
it's had its run.
Yeah, it's had its run. So after 30 days, you pretty much will not see any more views on your reel unless people are on your page and they see it on your page. But
that's very fascinating. Yeah. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, I remember telling my husband, we're going to get 1 million views on this reel. And we were like right there. And I'm like, it's completely defeated. I'm like, somebody just popped my bubble. No, but I mean, I'm just grateful that it got as many views as it did. But
God, that's amazing.
Everything that you mentioned in regards to going viral applied to that reel, everything that you just mentioned. So,
what was it about? Just curious.
What's so funny is although you mentioned stay on brand, this had nothing to do with my brand. And that's what's the most frustrating part about it. It was a voiceover, I was mouthing the words to this voice. And it was the fact that I had a Disney mug. I had the Chip from Beauty and the Beast Disney mug. And when I started the reel, I forgot that the mug was in the frame. So you see me quickly remove it out within the first 2 seconds. But it was the fact that there was movement within the first second, that it was a catchy sound at the time, or a voice, that I was using, but it was the mug. Everybody was commenting on the mug, like, oh my gosh, is that a Disney mug? Oh my gosh, is that the Chip mug? And my husband's like, only if you had a brand partnership with Disney. And I'm like, I know, right?
Oh my God, that is crazy. That's a great
I would say 90% of the comments on that reel had to do with the mug. And the mug wasn't even part of the reel.
That is something for me to remember right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was very, very interesting and something I definitely studied to apply to other reels. And yeah, it's very interesting, but that leads to my next question. You mentioned all these things about trending sounds, staying on brand, shorter reels, movement even. What do you think makes people stop to taking action when it comes to showing up on video or short form video? Is it overthinking all of these things that go into it that cause us to stop and not take action? What is really causing us to struggle here? And really so many struggle, even us that show up every single day. There's moments that we get in our own head and when we don't take action.
Oh, heck yeah. There's many times I'll put together a reel and I'm like, that's just not good enough. I delete it. I think that that's probably the problem right there. It's not good enough, whatever that even means. I've seen some of the worst reels I thought go viral. And I thought, how are they going viral with that? But I think a lot of what we're seeing in our academy that we have with the IG tribe is it's technology driven. They're scared of the app and they're scared of how to record. And that's more than anything. We just see that they're intimidated by the technology.
I tell people, and this is no slam to anybody on TikTok, but people that are really trying to dominate reels on Instagram, but they're stopping themselves from taking that action. I'm like, would you just go watch TikTok for a second? Seriously, go over to TikTok, because over on TikTok, it's funny to see. Instagram's more curated. It's more planned out. It's more, everybody takes a lot more time because it's more creative. Whereas on TikTok, the more authentic, showing up in your natural self, rolling out of bed, looking like a hot mess is what really goes viral. So if you need confidence on Instagram in the perfectly perfect world, please show up and just watch and scroll TikTok for a minute, because you will get the confidence over there. Because people just go viral from waking up and saying, look at how gross I look this morning. I haven't showered in a week. And it's like, they've got 3 million views on that.
And you're like, how? Oh my gosh.
I know, but it's so true. It's just, we do get stuck in what is considered perfect, and it's either society's expectations, our own expectations. And really, we've just got to throw out the expectations and just take action. But you mentioned it, and I heard you mention it, but you mentioned your IG tribe, and I know that you have something going on with that lately. So that leads me directly into my next question. And what is something that you're working on right now? What's something that you guys have going on in your brand and your business that you're just super excited about?
Well, one person you do not see here is my business partner. Her name is Abby. She was not able to join us today, but she and I together have put together what we call the IG Tribe Academy. And every single month, we help members of the Academy grow on social media, but in particular on Instagram. And we tend to focus on one particular subject each month. And so every single week, we upload videos showing them that particular trend or something that they need to know about Instagram. So for example, this month, we're really focusing in on finding your niche. Because so many people are like, you look at their bio when they join the academy and you're like, what is it exactly that you do? Because it makes no sense in your bio. So we're helping them to niche down and learn how to do their one-liners so that if anybody asks them what they do, they can nail it like that. And we also teach them through the academy what's trending, what's hot right now on social media, what are the changes happening, because God knows there's lots of changes constantly happening on Instagram. So I put my phone up on the screen so they can see everything that's changing and how to go with it. We also, every single week, we give them trending reel sounds. So I'll find the 5, what I think are maybe the hottest or the easiest reel sounds to redo, because, the technology, people that are intimidated by it, I want to make sure that these are some simple, really easy, simple reels that they can redo. And then I'll give them ideas for their niche, how they can apply it to their niche. And so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a big growing experience having a membership, but it's been a lot of fun and we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And you know what? There's something powerful about getting into a membership with a community. We can sit here and take in all this information on our own and watch YouTube video after YouTube video or watch creator after creator and get inspired. But when you plug yourself into a community, there's some form of just a different type of energy that comes out of there. And it's just so much fun. I love communities, and I love that you're building this academy, and I love that you are helping really entrepreneurs level up in their brand and their presence on a platform that is so widely used today. So I just love that. So if you're listening right now and you're watching, whether it's on YouTube or the podcast, definitely check this out. I'll have all the information in the show notes and in our blog and everything, so you can access it there. But my next question is, because as I think women hold on to this more than men, I'm not going to single out the women and the men here, but I know women are quote driven or, verse driven. So I would love to know, what is a quote that really kind of has stuck with you that's, just pushed you a little bit more throughout your journey as an entrepreneur, and maybe giving you that inspiration and that motivation to show up on video every day?
Right. There's one, it's actually a Bible quote. It's my favorite Bible quote that I live by. It's Ephesians 2:10, you are God's masterpiece.
Mm.
And I don't know about you, but my teenage years were kind of wonky.
Yeah.
I was all into performing arts and doing things on stage. And I wasn't the partier, and I wasn't the one who wanted to go to the slumber parties. I wanted to practice for those shows that I was in. And so I always remembered back then, what my mom would always say, what you are is how God has made you. And then what you become is your gift back to God, because you are a masterpiece. Everything about you was placed in you for a purpose and for a reason. And so if you think that you stick out like a sore thumb, actually that's to your benefit at this point in social media. How different you are from everybody else is what sets you apart. So you truly are, everybody is a masterpiece. Everything you have, every purpose, every gift you've been given is used for a reason. So take it and run with it.
I love that. I absolutely love it. Now, look, you have given so much value in this conversation today. So my next question for you might be like, I don't know. I think I gave it all to you, but I'm going to ask you, out of everything that we did talk about today, out of everything that you've shared, especially the last bit that you just now shared, what is a key point, key takeaway that you would encourage listeners to really lean in and walk away with?
I think the key point that I would give our viewers right now is just start, get it done. You will never feel ready. You will never feel confident enough. You will never be prepared enough, and you will never feel like you know enough. So you might as well get started today. And I like to tell people that as hard as it is, you will suck in the beginning. You just will. And you will eventually not suck when you start working hard on it. There's a TED Talk video I love that talks about how it takes 20 hours to get good at something. And so, which tells you that everything's going to be uncomfortable until it's comfortable, and everything will be hard until it's not. And so you might as well get started today creating those reels that will not be the best quality, but get started, get them out there, and you're going to eventually learn what works and what doesn't, and you're going to be able to use it all to your benefit.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love it. Well, Julie, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I want to thank you for just all the value that you've given, because this is very important. Video is not going away. If anything, they're driving more attention to video, short form video, long form video, ways to show up on video. So we've got to figure out how to do this and do it well. And I think what you shared with us today is so powerful. So thank you so much for